where did the real Jared even come from? Like, were you having a bit of an identity crisis or something, and you just had to let the
Uh,
people know?
yeah, I had to let him know. I'm like, I am the real Jared. Any other Jared just doesn't exist, you
Screw
know?
them.
Like, yeah, I am like the real Jared. So, funny enough, I'll kind of base it in the front prefix of it, the real, and then my name. So, this is like 2013, probably around 2013, probably like late 2012. There was an app, as we all were, like especially young kids like us. We kind of maybe don't crave the likes, but every like that we got, we'd always appreciate. And especially the more we got, we kind of drove to get more. Back then, there was this app where basically I could like mass amounts of posts before they put like a limit on it, and basically I would like 50 posts at a time. I spent like $2.99 to get like a premium version of it. This app, it's like love Instagram or something. I don't know if it works anymore, but I would basically just like mass amounts of posts because I was trying to drive traffic to my like Instagram when I was like the time 2012. I was probably 11 going on 12.
Started young,
And
man.
starting young, trying to drive the traffic to the channel. And there was this one guy that I remember clicking on. I'd like go to like a hashtag or something, right? It was like follow for follow or something, or like for like. It was something like that. And I basically saw this guy. It was like the real Austin 4. And I was like,
Ooh,
I like the like
sounds
prefix,
cool.
I'm like, that sounds pretty cool. And so like kind of I adopted that prefix as my Instagram. So I named myself underscore TheRealJared 16. I don't know why I put the underscore. I think it was because it was hot at the time, or it like just came out. And like I was like, screw it. I'll do it. And so then kind of years go on. I had that. I still have it as my name on Instagram, my personal Instagram, but except with the underscore. Took that one out. And then so years go on as I became, more adopted into the branding, the YouTubing. I had a channel. Still, the channel that I have now, The Real Jared, 2021, 2022. No, it was 2020. It was 2020. It was July of 2020. I uploaded this video called the Be Different Movement. That same day, I changed my name from The Real Joru. And we'll get into that because that kind of gives a little bit more context. So, and then to The Real Jared. So I've had The Real Jared for some time and just building up that brand and that identity. But before then, like when I first started YouTube, I called myself Joru Gaming, which stems from my Minecraft name, Joru Spunsum, Joru. That's the part that I took, SPUNSUM. And the funny story behind it was me and my friend in 5th grade, we were talking about like the crisis going on in Jerusalem, like the Middle East. Like we're like in 5th grade. Like I think like my friend Jacob, who kind of got me into YouTube, I don't know what sparked that conversation, but then I go home and there was this game that I love today. It's like in my top like 9, like if you have like a 3x3 game that you like love, like the top 9 games that you love, that one's like in that category. And it was called Star Wars: The Old Republic. So I create this character, I make it with like long hair, and it had like, the top knot, but then like has like that Viking hair that flows down, like that type of hair. And it's funny enough because I actually rock that hair now when I do Spartan races. But I named the character, I tried naming the character Jerusalem. I didn't know how to spell Jerusalem, obviously, because I spelled it JORUSPUMSUM.
Oh God.
And like my dad's like, what's the name? I'm like, I tried spelling Jerusalem. Like my dad's like, where's the L? And I'm like, well, we got Joru Spunsum, and then I named my Minecraft after it, and then took that, adopted it for my YouTube, and then kind of had different variations of it. Like I went from Joru Gaming to Joru to The Real Joru, and then I just stuck with The Real Jared. So, but who knows? That might change in the future. But more or less to the Jared identity.
In Chicago, dude, it's a thing. It's a
Yeah.
really big thing.
It's like still pretty prominent.
Oh,
like,
dude, it's coming back bigger than ever. We love it, dude. Like,
yeah.
It's so interesting because in December I drove from Arizona to Chicago because I was coming home for Christmas. And in Arizona, like, there's no mask mandate. Like, if you walk into a grocery store, 85% of the people don't have masks and whatnot.
Yeah.
And, like, people are just chilling. And then the entire route through New Mexico and Texas and Mississippi and Louisiana, like everywhere, all the way back up through Kentucky, like the entire way, I didn't wear a mask the single time. And then as soon as I got into Chicago, everyone was like, "Oh my God, this is insane!" I was like, "What the heck is going on down there, dude?" No one gives a shit, bro.
Yeah, like I feel like I feel like there's just kind of like that, like if you are, sure. If you're not, sure. But then I feel like there's like those hot spots that it kind of hits a little bit more.
Yeah. So
like Seattle is like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I noticed a lot of the cases are happening in the like northeast, which is interesting.
Okay, like New England area, like that
New
general
England
area.
To Chicago, that kind of wing, and it's like, duh, it's cold. Everyone's inside, you know.
Yeah.
Like, that's how it happens. Because it's interesting because in like August, there's a big wave in the South, which is like, wait, why? It's summer. Yeah. It's because everyone was so hot they went inside, and then they were they're just like, you know, that's how it spreads. So it's going back and forth. But dude, there's my dad was telling me so we have what's called like the Chicago Teachers Union, so CTU, and then the Chicago Public School CPS. So, dude, I'm telling you, like every 3 months, we are protesting. We're in the streets. We are not having school. It is insane. Like, the kids were supposed to go back last Monday, and then the teachers were like, "Nah, I don't want to go back, man. It's too scary, COVID." And then it happened again, and then again, and again. And so they only went back on Wednesday, bro.
Wow.
And then the front page of the Chicago Tribune this morning is now the students are walking out of class because they're protesting COVID. And it's just like this whole wild thing. Because it's like, I mean, you think about it, like obviously they care about their safety and stuff, but like, do these teachers are like, do they want these kids to learn anything? Like I'm telling you, there's been like 5 protests in the last 3 years. And my dad's office building, he works for Chase Bank in the city. Okay. And across from it is the CPS headquarters. So he's saying that normally they'll raise signs and stand outside, but he's like, you know, last week it was 12 degrees outside. So they're like, oh, it's cold. So they just drove their cars and they just did circles.
Just circles around them.
Honking their horns, screaming for 3 hours, bro. Like sharks about to eat lunch, man. Dude.
But teasing it. Oh, dude, man.
Dude,
that's
a lot.
That's
man.
Dedication.
People are losing their minds, dude.
Yeah. I mean, certainly the safety, and I mean, if it's a big problem, that's halt for a second. But I remember for me, I really enjoyed the online learning. I did, well, funny enough, it was my first semester of college. I went 2 classes on campus, 1 class online. And then when December hit, was it December? No, so we had the winter off, and then the early parts of January when we came back, that was when I just went full online because I didn't want to drive in the snow. So then essentially I just did all online, and then by then COVID had hit, and so I just continued online as pretty much everyone did or had to. And I mean, I enjoyed it pretty much all throughout, and then I still did online when I was even back at school. I think I had 1 class in person. Funny story. I know Mary's most likely not going to see this, but it was our first semester back from COVID. It was okay, we're going to have classes, we're going to do the hybrid for some. And if you only have 1 day there, then you have 1 day there. It doesn't really matter. But my mom's diabetic. I kind of maybe used it, and she's asthma. I kind of maybe used it to my strengths, maybe, but I just said hey, my mom, you know, she has these underlying problems that, you know, are obviously pretty susceptible if you do get COVID to you know, have things kind of go off course and off the cliff. But I just said, I gotta look out, you know? And so I said, I could have just gone to every single day of the class, but there was a Thursday class that we needed to present. So I just went and presented, but I just only show up for one day of the week. Just because I wanted to do stuff at home. All of our stuff was online and they had computers in the classroom. So we'd then, how'd I say it? We would, you know, we'd do it there. And I was like, well, I could just do it at home. I don't need to drive 25 minutes. So I did that for 3 months. And then, and then I just took online again for the next 2 quarters. So it was fine. But just a fun little story.
So I noticed I've been watching some of the videos you've been making, but it's getting very philanthropic, and you probably made almost no money off of social media ever, would be my guess. How are you doing it, man?
Yeah, so I've kind of taken that more altruistic approach where, you know, I'm spending money on somebody or something, and to be honest, it's just all through DoorDash. I just DoorDash pretty much until I get $50 or 2 hours is hit, and then just try and build that up for as much as I can for the entire week, and then basically redo it for when I need more money. I mean, there was a time when, there was one video, which you probably know, where I surprised the homeless man with the best day ever, and then surprised him with a whole bunch of clothes. I probably spent $350 that video. I know I'm not making any money on the return. But I mean, that's just kind of the nature of it. I'm willing to go the extra mile to make something happen for somebody else, even if it's at the cost of my own financial. So it just really depends on how much I have and I basically will sit down. I'll be like, okay, I want to do all these things. I know that they're going to be great for a video. How much is it going to cost? I'll basically just DoorDash as much as I need to make that happen, and then make it happen. And then, you know, my bank account will drain back down to $10, and then I'll DoorDash the next day to try and get it back up. And luckily, surprisingly enough, funny you mentioned, because my main source of income, at least recently, was in season 4. We had a challenge, or I should preface this. You and I know each other from Creator Now. So in season 3, I did a lot of videos. And then season 4.
Whoa, what is Creator Now?
Do you not know? Okay. So Creator, I'm assuming you're just prefacing me to explain it. So Creator Now is a program for YouTubers like us who are trying to kind of build the fundamentals of YouTube, trying to build that from the ground up. However, we obviously know a lot about YouTube, but it's also posting a video every week for 6 weeks, and it's basically a challenge. It's a boot camp to kind of get you started into your dreams and get the ball rolling of YouTube.
Yeah,
it's basically building a snowman.
It's run by Eric, who's a popular YouTuber.
Yeah. So that was where we met. In season 4, they had a challenge for week 6 to do a Rhino Shield integration, a gifted collaboration. So my phones are both Rhino Shield phone cases, not sponsored, but I will say I was rewarded a lot of money for my week 6 video. So I haven't been DoorDashing because I just have that, and I've been happy with it. So
I was gonna ask you, because I was like, you got an ad read? What's going on there?
Yeah. So that I guess it doesn't even matter. A lot of people know the price. So I won $5,000 from a gifted collaboration.
$5,000, dude?
Yeah.
Dude,
I was.
What?
Yeah, I was.
What?
I was geeking out.
Hey, how? Wait.
So
Eric just gave it away. Were you the best or something, or?
So it was more or less Kate and Zach, the management team of Eric at One Day Entertainment. Kate was the woman that set it up. She was the person that set that up, and then Rhino Shield. So you basically would put your video week 6 if you had done the integration. You would send your video over to a Google form, and basically what would happen is it would go through all the videos that Saturday. because they all needed to be uploaded. And so basically they needed to make a decision by Sunday morning. So they'd stay up at night, I'm assuming. I don't know that logistics, but they probably need to, right? And they go through all the videos, and essentially it was pretty cool because it was really nice to get picked from Kate, you know, like in the Air Rack team, like that whole thing. And it was really nice to get picked for it, right? But she had also mentioned that Rhino Shield also had a big part in choosing the video. And so like it like boosted me because I was like,
wow.
Oh, it's not like just like Kate thinking it's good, but it's like the people at Rhino Shield who make these incredible phone cases who also believed in me as a creator, you know? And so I like woke up, so funny enough, because I woke up super, how would I say it? I went to bed very late on Sunday, or like Saturday night, and then Sunday was our final kickoff call. I went to bed at like 6 a.m. because the night before I'd stayed up until like basically like 8 to get the video in, because I had to be up by noon on Saturday instead of our normal like deadline. And yeah, basically I woke up like 30 minutes after the call, or like the call was still going on. It was like 9:30. The call started at 9, and Rachel, who you know, Rachel Karlnick, she had messaged me. She was like the only person that messaged me through iMessage. So like I saw the message, and she's like, "Oh, congratulations on winning the Rhino Shield," and it was like the Rhino Shield thing, and I was like, "Oh gosh!" I'm like that. Oh my gosh! Oh my god! I'm like, what do I do? Like that's a lot of money. That's so much money. Like I've earned $5,000 over the course of my DoorDashing career from November 16th, 2020, all the way over to, you know, now. But to have that like sit there all at once, I was like, what do you do? Like, how do you feel? Like my heart that entire day was just pounding.
Wow.
And basically within the next 24 hours, the money was in there.
You spent it all.
I haven't spent it all. I still have $3,000. So
what did you spend the first $2,000 on?
So I spent it on Christmas gifts during the time because it was right before Christmas. Did a 24-hour live stream where I raised money for charity. So that was like my main thing. So I also needed to spend money to make money for charity. So I needed to like find ways to get people like giveaways essentially. So I need to buy a few things here and there to then give away. So then, you know, you get more people in, and then just kind of works hand in hand. So we raised $1,000 for charity during that 24-hour live stream. But I spent money there, Christmas gifts. Also bought like a Stream Deck, which is like a little thing where it has like hotkeys, so you could do like, you know, instead of like I need to open all these things, I basically just click a button, they'll do like the things for me. And it just kind of replaces a step. Instead of like doing 5 steps, I can do 1 to do 5. And then what else did I buy? Probably have to look at my bank statements, to be honest. I know I bought this little thing for my podcast to record through. What else did I buy? I really don't remember. I feel like I should remember. I tried to refrain from buying anything like super expensive for some time because I was like, I don't want to be like, I have money to spend money. I want to have money to be safe. And then when I need to spend it, I'm able to spend it. So, try to keep like, I think I'm like pushing a little under 3,000 right now, but for the most part, it's still pretty solid. I'll probably go DoorDash within like this next week or so. But I know I'm fine for some time, but I'm not pushing under 3,000. I know I have 3,000, but funny enough, during the time that I wasn't DoorDashing, I've been streaming a lot. And throughout the month of December, I've been streaming, and through Twitch, you can get paid through that. And I will proudly say, because it's something that I've been working up towards. I've had a lot of payments come out that have been like $100 plus because that's the payout, but it's, like $115 somewhere, $150 at most. But I will say this last one was a game changer.
Really?
It was very nice. It was very nice. I won't say specifics, but I can say it was a very nice, I'll say check because I'm not getting like a physical check or it's not a direct transfer, but it is a very nice check to come
That's
through. So
nice. How much or not what do you do to like how does the money work through Twitch? I'm unaware.
So Yeah, so Twitch is a platform where you can live stream. You can live stream you just like sitting doing a podcast. You can live stream you doing, like Minecraft or GTA 5 or any big game that's out there. You can do music, play the piano. It originally kind of prefaced itself as an IRL stream, but then a lot of people took that to gaming because it was in-house. IRL streams weren't a thing. Now they are. And then they kind of branched out to a lot of different things. But how to make money is you could get bits by cheering, so people can cheer. It's like, oh, woo! Like you can get like 1 bit, and that's 1 cent. So 1 bit is 1 cent. You could get it by cheering. So if you do 100 bits, that's $1. You get the lucky part. The lucky part about bits is you get all of it. You could do a gifted sub, a normal sub. They're basically the same thing, just like the medium of doing it. Gifting is like, I'm gonna give you a sub to your favorite streamer, whereas like a sub is like you going out of your way to then buy a sub, whether that be through Twitch Prime because it's owned by Amazon, or just like buying a sub. And that's like 3 ways of the sub. They're typically $5. You could do more for more. It's basically like a Patreon tier. The more tiers you go, the more you get. That's one way. You could also get ad stuff, which is like very minimal. Like I think I probably raised like $5 within my ads. But it's more than I made on YouTube. So take that, YouTube. Regardless, that's like ways you could do. You can get donations. That's most streamers who aren't, making a whole lot of money. That's typically the way that they'll get it. Like through donations, people drop like a 5, a 20.
What's your biggest?
My highest is $400, but that was for the 24-hour live stream. I geeked out when I saw it. I was there at like 6 a.m. Yeah, I was just like watching my videos, like telling BTS behind the scenes stuff, and I got rated by a guy with like 33 viewers at the time, and like they're like, oh, like what are you raising? And like they're like, I was like, oh, I'm doing this and whatnot, and they asked me like, what are you at right now? And I'm like trying to do the math because I've had bits, I've had donations, I've also had gifted subs and like subs in general. And so like the accumulation of it, I was like, I'd probably say around like 600 like or so. And I was roughly around right. Like I was roughly pretty much right. I think it was at like 595 or something, but regardless, 600. And he's like, well, here's $400. And I'm like, how do you react to that? Like, you just like look at the number and I'm just like, that's not real. It just isn't real. To get a $400 donation is just absurd. I've had individuals who have been following me for years and people who have really supported me over the course of those years donate more than $400, but never all at once. Just like my jaw dropped. And luckily enough, because it was kind of funny because I was actually really grateful I got the $5,000 because the payment for Twitch, especially through subs and through cheering, doesn't come for like a certain period of time. It comes like at one drop. They used to do it once you hit $100, it would take 15 days for the payout. They apparently changed it within like the past year where it's like, okay, January 12th, here's your payout, and then February 12th, here's your payout, and so it kind of, I don't know. If you're making a lot of money, it's great. But if you're like right at that line and you barely hit it or don't hit it, then you got to wait a whole nother month if you hit it within that month. But regardless,
you still got to hit the 100.
Yeah. So the $100 payout, that's like that's once you hit that, you've unlocked the ability to withdraw. And it automatically does it.
Money you earned.
Yes, right. Like you've cracked the code to the bank.
It.
Right. And like YouTube's the same way. But regardless, back in the day, YouTube, when they had AdSense, when everyone was able to, before they changed it like 2017, I had like 6 cents in there, 7 cents in the AdSense, and you needed like $100 to pay it out. I never hit $100, let me tell you, but that was like, I'm like, oh my gosh, like I know if I just continue creating videos, like I'm like 6 cents for this many views. I'm like, well, if I just scale that like into what it is, like back then, I think I hit up to like 53 cents or so, but regardless, that payout was very similar. I don't know if YouTube's the same way in that regards now, but luckily I had the $5,000 because I was able to just like take from my $5,000 and then basically take the rest that I had not actually gotten yet through like the Prime subs and all the subs that came through, because I couldn't reach that money yet. So I was able to like take from my 5,000 and then give it away. So
so you gave the money out of you gifted the donation from your own wallet, basically.
Yeah, because I need to fill the hole of all the donations that came through, because
then otherwise they'll think you're a bastard or something.
Yeah, or like I stole the money because it's like, well, we've reached 1,000, but you only gave like, 400 away, 500 away, because I didn't have access to that Twitch money yet. So I was very fortunate that I got through that. But that's one way that I'm making money. And my recent but my recent withdrawal was I was very happy about. So
that's insane.
I was happy.
Like when you're saying like the $400, like imagine if you were DoorDashing again, you know how like you DoorDash, you drop it off and then sometimes they're like, you actually got this much.
Yeah.
Like, can you imagine if it was like, you actually got $409?
You're like, oh! Like, you'd be geeking out. I mean,
Dude,
I remember
losing your mind.
Right? Like, I'll never forget my highest priced one was like a $40 tip.
Wow.
And yeah, I remember the house it was like my biggest night ever. Like, it was the first time I reached like $100 or something. And I do the normal 2-hour shift, like do from like a 5 to 7. Sometimes I do a 5 to 8, depending on if it was really busy. I typically do the 5 to 8 during that time because it was the holidays, Mm-hmm. I feel like people are a little bit more giving back. So, I mean, I try to take advantage of that, but also it's snowy here. People aren't going to want to drive. So I was like, I feel like I can meet you in the middle there. And I'll never forget, it was a Buffalo Wild Wings order. I got 2 orders. I got one for $8 and then one for $10. This $8 order.
18,
yeah, I'm like, yeah, 18. I'm like, I'm driving a little extra for like one of them, but I'm still getting, like I like to say like I'm getting 10 to go to one spot, and then I'm also driving the equivalent to then increase or like slightly decrease. But it was a 8 and 10, drop the 8 off, give the 10, and then like it was like a Steelers fan. They were watching the game at the time, and I just drop off their food. Like it was at a house and whatnot. And I drop it off. I check my phone because I click that I've completed the order, and it says $50, and I'm like, $40 tip. I don't remember the subtotal because I feel like there was like a little extra, because it might have been like 6 base pay and like something, or like might have been like a 2 incentive, but regardless, it was like $40 tip, and I knew that it was 10, so I was like 50, 51-ish, and I was like, wow. I'm like, that's a lot of money. I don't know how to feel about that. Like, like you're geeking. You're geeking. Because that's like 2 times the amount that you would hope to get for an hour. And you've done that within 15 minutes. And, I mean, you can't hope on it all the time because, not everyone's dropping 40 bombs out here. Yeah. But regardless, that was one of my biggest tips. And then I had one that was a $19.50 when I first picked it up. It was 21 items from this Mexican restaurant.
Wow.
And I'm like, 19 items, and I know this restaurant only includes like individual items, so like I know it's not like Taco Bell,
dude,
but it's also like Taco Bell.
Bro.
Well, because you get like 50 items, but it's like 40 of them are hot sauce packets,
Yeah.
And so like it's like that where every individual item is counted as an item, and so I'm like, oh, this is gonna be a lot of food, like a lot of food. I'm like 21 items from like a Mexican restaurant. I'm like, I can only imagine. I'm like, you know what? It's 19. If it takes a little bit long, that's my hour quota. Pick it up. But like literally right as I get there, it's ready. So I'm like, I had to make 2 trips to my car. I'm like, yeah, right. Big dub for that. And I basically go drive over, like it was far. It was a decently far, but I was driving from a like Liberty Lake, which is an area kind of outside the main area, but it's still within that bubble of DoorDash for this area. But it's more on like, if you get stuck there, then you kind of have to drive back to like the main road. But it's not bad because there are orders there, but you kind of bank on it sometimes. So I was driving back over to like the medium area, like within the middle, but I was driving more to the south side of it. And it was basically outside the zone on the south side. Regardless, I picked it up, drove it there, and I'm like, $19, $20. I'm like, I got there within like 20 minutes at most. And essentially, I like drop it off, and he left like a $30 tip, and so like it ended up being like $40 or something. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm like, that's amazing. I'm like, I don't care if I pick up a $5 order at this anymore, you know? So yeah, good DoorDash stories, man. Like, I don't know, like it's nice to be able to hustle for it and work for it because that grind, you know, it's like I picked up that order and if I didn't, somebody else would have got that tip, you know, like, and I know like there's some orders that I recently before I stopped doing the DoorDash or at least halted the production of driving, I was like, I'd pick up like maybe like a $10 or $11 order, and it was a little far, but I'm like, well, if I don't pick it up, somebody else is going to get like $13 because then by then it would have increased. And I was like, oh man, like I'm missing out on like $12 to like drive. And I know it may not be the most picture perfect drive, but like $11. And if I don't pick it up, then I'm just at a loss for, you know, eventually $13 because then somebody else is taking it. And man, so I like had that mentality for like the last week and I was like, this is war. I'm like, I'm trying to make the most money that I can. Even if it's a little bit further, still in the area, I'm like, I'll go pick it up. I don't care. And so, yeah, good DoorDash stories.
I was in LA with Instacarting, which is like the same thing as DoorDash,
okay,
like groceries. And I was with my friend and we were going around and it was like 1 o'clock on a Tuesday kind of thing. And then we go to Erewhon, which is like a bougie grocery store. It's like Whole Foods and Trader Joe's combined kind of thing.
Okay.
In LA-ified. But we go there and they're like, want like chili spice seasoning and taco shells. So we pick it up. It takes like 10, it's like 2 items. It takes like 10 minutes. And then we go and then the order was for Calabasas and we were like, whoa, that's weird. And then it was in the Hidden Hills neighborhood in Calabasas, which is the neighborhood in which all of the celebrities in Los Angeles live in.
Oh wow.
And so we had to go through like this private drive to a gated community, and the guard was like, yeah, go ahead, man. Because we flashed the DoorDash thing. And we go up, and I'm like looking at the thing, the navigation, and it's like taking me to the dead end up this hill, and I'm like, no way, dude. We're going to the highest house on the hill.
Yeah, like you're like, especially if it's a private drive.
What? And so we keep going. We make it like another half mile. And we turn left up the street. We go all the way to the end of the street, and the houses just keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And then we pull up, and I'm like, yeah, that's it. And then I look over, and there's 15 cars in the driveway, dude. And there's like 6 dudes in all black standing out in front, and I'm like, what the heck is going on?
And you're in your van?
No, I was in my friend's car, just like a Subaru.
I would have laughed if you pulled up in the van.
It's so funny, dude. And so she gets out and she's like, don't come with me. I'm like, what? I want to see what's in here, bro. And then, but she walks out and she goes, hands it to the man. And he's like, okay, thank you. And then I'm like so curious at this point. I get on Zillow and I start going. And
you start looking at the houses.
And I'm like, oh my God, dude. And like my friend walks back in and she's like, what's going on? And I'm like, that house is worth $15.9 million. And then
they wanted taco shells and chili seasoning.
And then I searched the address on Google and it comes up in an article.
Oh.
Kylie Jenner buys her 3rd house in the Hidden Hills. It was Kylie Jenner's house, bro. She wanted taco shells and seasoning. It was probably on her Instagram story that day or whatever the heck.
Yeah,
like made a quick lunch, like.
That's insane.
Isn't that insane, bro? And she only tipped like $3. Like, what the hell?
Fuck it. Like, that's a story that you'll probably make more bank like telling that story in the future than you made during that order.
Yeah, dude. Oh, there's this hilarious. One other time. Oh, there was one other order in LA. LA's like LA's great to do DoorDash, but we were in Malibu, and I was like, there's got to be something good in Malibu. And then we get to this one shop, and I forget what it's called, but it's like, dude, like you get your car valeted or what? I don't even know how to say the word.
Sure.
Obviously, I haven't been valeted before. But like the guy who we were talking to, because we're not trying to get valeted, we're just dropping or picking up food.
Yeah, you're just picking up.
He was like looking at us all weird, and I was looking at him all weird, and because we were in like a dumpy car, and there were like Lambos next to us.
Yeah.
Oh my god! And he comes out, and I start shooting the shit, and then we start talking. He's like, dude, who's in there right now? And he's like, Kanye. And I was like,
does he want taco shells too? Like, Kanye? How does this work?
What? And then we ended up picking up the order, and it was like $200, and then the guy tipped us like $50, and I was like, dude, wow, I could live forever. And then,
I'm set for the week.
I'm good, dude. And then I was thinking, it reminds me of the other time I was in Flagstaff, Arizona, but I went to the Walmart because I'm actually poor, So I went to the Walmart to go grocery shopping, and I come out, and it was like I got like $30 worth of stuff, but then I noticed like I picked up these grapes, and the sign said like $1.69 for the grapes per pound, and then when I checked out, it rang it up for like 99 cents a pound, and I was like, oh my god.
Like the little saving, like 70 cents.
No, I thought, dude, in my head, I stole the grapes, and I was like, oh my god. I
can't let anybody know. Do they have the camera right over the self-checkout?
I walk out the store, and I'm like, dude, I feel so guilty, bro. Like, I can't go back. The Walmart people don't give a fuck, bro. Take my money. They're like, what? So I'm like, oh, what do I do? How do I make it up to the world? Like, my karma's to the shit, right? I just stole grapes from Walmart, bro. And so then I see this dude who's hustling on the corner, like probably homeless, like has a sign, and he's and I'm like, oh, I gotta give him money. I was like, what did I spend? Like $2? It was probably like $2 grapes, probably not even. And I look at my wallet, it's only a 20, and I'm like, oh god, am I really gonna? Yeah.
I'll give him the grapes. I'm gonna have to give him the grapes. I'm gonna have to.
No, dude, I went over there and I gave him the 20.
There you go.
Dude, he was so stupid.
He found Willy Wonka, the golden ticket.
Yeah, he found
basically
the golden ticket, bro. And he was so happy after I walk back, and I'm like sitting in my car, and then I look over at him. He's like smoking a celebratory cig. He probably found on the ground or something. He's just kicking back, like he's good.
He puts down the sign because he doesn't need it for that moment.
He like says, "Bro, I'm good," and then puts it back up. And like that makes you think. Like this is how I always think. $20, like $20 for me. Like obviously I'm not like wealthy, but like that's not gonna make or break my life. $20 for this dude could literally double like his net worth. Like that's insane, dude.
Yeah.
Like literally. Boom. This man, like, oh, you're a little cold? You could buy a motherfucking tent or
like a blanket. Yeah, like something.
Yeah. Like that's crazy, bro.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Maybe
especially like
good karma.
Yeah, I mean, the grape story is legendary. But even like when I was doing some of my videos with homeless people in general,
oh yeah, your karma's probably up here, bro.
They're super.
That's why you're getting the Twitch tips, man.
That's why the Twitch, man.
The only reason, bro.
But they're super kind. Like they value a lot of things, like whether that be the things that they already have, or the things that they get. The one thing that I've realized is they don't like swapping out things because they're like, well, I value that, and now I'm getting something obviously can help me more, but like I value that. And so like the swapping, that's why I guess maybe my conclusion of it, why a lot of them have a lot of things, because they're not swapping things out. Like, well, I have a water bottle and I now have a bigger water bottle. They keep both of them because they're both just as valuable. And like keeping that kind of going. So just like learning that from what I've done within, my homeless endeavors. And even, it's weird saying it like that.
It sounds like a bad YouTube video.
Yeah, it sounds like I was going homeless. Like I remember.
I'm going undercover.
Yeah, I'm going undercover. Undercover boss, like out here.
Undercover boss.
Boss. Yeah, man. But yeah, I mean, it's a different environment to say the least. It's a different world that even some of them live in. But it's pretty cool. I'm good, bro. Like. Oh, that's funny. That's
Dude,
funny.
my friend Munib, who's actually going to be on the podcast in a couple of days, but he worked for a homeless, or no, it was a charity. It was actually Islamic based charity group. And
Okay.
so one of their core missions was helping the homeless in the city of Chicago. And
Gotcha.
so they like prepared all these bags and like heaters and stuff because it gets damn cold, right, in the winter.
Yeah.
And so one of the nights I was like, yeah, I'll go with, and we went out, and some guy, it's the lead car or whatever, would just take us to places where homeless people like little communities, like under bridges or like by certain places that they just always
Yeah.
were. And it was crazy because we would hand out the stuff, and then you'd be like, yo, you want another one? And they would go, oh, no,
Yeah.
give it to the next guy. There's a guy around the corner. And it's like, bro, you have
Like they could have it. Yeah.
you currently have 0 sandwiches. I just gave you one and you could have 2 now? And you're like, no.
Yeah.
Like they literally have 0 probably, which is, and
It's crazy. It's crazy because it's still human, like they still understand, like it's their own community, like they're sharing the wealth in a way.
Yeah, that's what I kind of realized was so like Chicago's got its fair amount of homeless people. It's like a big city, right?
Yeah.
And so this is a couple years ago, but I would just like night crawl through Chicago and just like go around at like 2 a.m. and just see what was going on, and then I would like talk to these homeless people, or they'd come up to you, and like most of them were super friendly and stuff. Like this one guy came up to me. I was with one of my friends, and we were in the train station that runs like public transit through the city.
Okay.
It was like in a subway though, like underground, like kind of creepy, and it was 2 a.m. and we're like standing there. And he starts walking over, and I'm like, get closer to the person I'm next to. I'm like ready to like protect. And then the guy's like, guys, I just have to let this out. And I'm like, what? And then he proceeds to tell like a fart joke basically. And then and he's like, and he just like loses his mind. And then we're like, oh wait, these people are human too. Like, and he's like, he's like, yeah, I just wanted to talk to somebody. And I was like, wow. And then as I was going around like talking to people, you'd say, yeah, where are you from? You just try to like keep it light. And they're like, oh, I live here, or oh, I live there, or I'm from this part of the city, or this part, or the south side, or the west side, or the north side, whatever the heck. And then I was like, dang, we call these people homeless, but every single one of them says they have a home somewhere. And I'm like, wow, it's not really
just without just without the physical home.
It's like it's like houseless more, which is kind of like PC to say, but it like makes sense.
Yeah. That would probably be the more proper term, because they don't have a house, but they still have a home.
Yeah, I don't know. They're kind of amazing. Like just to be able to go through a winter outside in Chicago or Spokane or wherever the heck, especially it's up like, dude. Every time I go past one of them, I'm like, how are you outside right now? I'm cold and I'm in my car with a jacket on and like dry. And you're just out there. It's like the resilience, man.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, we luckily, I mean, I'm sure you guys probably have like a lot of how to say it, areas where there maybe might be heating, or like we filled up our arena here, like our where a lot of performances go down. They basically like filled that up, but then Jojo Siwa came through and they had to kind of kick him out.
Jojo Siwa?
Yeah, Jojo Siwa did her first concert after 2 years in Spokane.
No way, bro.
Yeah.
Jojo
We didn't go,
Siwa?
but yeah. It was pretty funny.
Wow.
Because like, we all know her as like the bright color rainbow type, like everything's bright colors, and like we know her as like a young teen, but she's, like 19, 20,
She's 19, 20?
Yeah, bro. Dude,
I thought
she's
she
like
was
our
like
age.
9 forever, bro.
I know, like it just stayed with her forever.
Is she like emo phase? Is she all black now, or?
No, she hasn't fully reversed. She hasn't gone full spectrum reverse.
Dude, could you imagine if JoJo Siwa went emo? That would
imagine
people's mind.
Yeah, like I don't know how I feel.
All these moms would have to start buying their kids like emo dolls and stuff. Like,
yeah. Oh
come
gosh.
on, Mom, it's cool.
JoJo Siwa does it.
January 1st, 2023. Give me like 3 things that you want to make happen by then.
Make happen by then. That's a good question. It's a good question. Because I like that. I will say I like the way that you phrased that, because it's like, what do you want to do by then? More like that's implying that you're going to do it, but like there's no active reason to do it. Like you're not actively doing it. Whereas like, what do you want to make happen by then? So that's a great way of phrasing it. So, by then, January 1st, 2023, one thing that I definitely want to do is release an album.
Really?
Yeah.
I've listened. I thought you had made it for jokes. I didn't know you're going serious now.
No, like I enjoy the music making, just been learning, and something that I really, really enjoy. And it's just basically like a journal, but like a message at the same time when I write music and the things that I'm writing, the topics that I'm writing. And that's one thing that I would definitely want to do, release an album. 2, I want to do a meet and greet. I don't know where. I would love to do one. I don't know how it's going to happen, because who the heck knows? I might be still at 3,000 subscribers at the end of the year, you know, or I might be at like 500,000 subscribers at the end of the year. Like, who knows? But regardless, that's one thing that I definitely want to do in some capacity. One thing that I would love to do, I'd love to perform. I love to perform at even like just like one of these, like, I don't know, up and coming artist type thing. I don't know what you call them, but just like perform on stage for somebody, you know, or like maybe I do a video where I invite people, and, you know, for the release of the album, we have somebody who's also very talented within the music realm perform, but then there's also that performance as well. And that's just like, you know, a whole experience in itself. That's that kind of like, I guess it kind of works hand in hand. Some type of performance. I'd also love to do a lot more videos regarding to traveling, where I'm kind of like out in like a area that I don't know, you know, whether that be LA, Santa Monica. That's like the mecca of like any YouTube influencer stuff. Not a big fan of like the whole environment there, but definitely want to just make bigger and better videos and just continue to captivate an audience. Like I would just want to do the impossible, you know?
Hell yeah.
So,
why do you cringe at LA so much?
The one thing that I put it, I'm gonna read one of my tweets. Okay, I'm gonna read one of my tweets here.
Gotcha.
Because I think this encapsulates it all. Let me pull it up here, because I don't know. I was feeling really how would I say it? I was feeling rather poignant this day. So I said, so many influencers aren't focused on being a role model. They're focused on what is it in for them? The money, the cars, the houses, the fame. It pains me because so many people are being used for for that person's gain. And I mean, I can't speak for everybody. I haven't talked to people, you know, but you know, there's obviously there's obviously good people in LA. There's obviously, you know, people that are doing it for their own personal gain to just try and become the next whatever, you know. And I feel like there's that bell curve medium that it is good, you know, whether you stray one way or the other, but not a big proponent on maybe the culture down there. I mean, I think there's both extremes in that bell curve in there. Just not a big LA type guy, you know. I like being that homegrown. And if that stops me, whatever, you know, I like being that homegrown. Like I want to put Spokane on the map, you know, for whatever capacity, more than John Stockton and Gonzaga, you know, and that's basically it. And Bing Crosby, that's essentially it for Spokane, you know, that's kind of it. And, you know, to kind of see myself one day being that guy who also put Spokane on the map in some capacity, or that just means the world to me, you know, because this is where I've grown up. It's not where I'm from, however, but it's where I've grown up, and this is the city that I've been able to see grow, just like I've been able to see myself grow over the past 10, 15 years. So it means a lot to me to kind of, you know, live in a city just like this and be homegrown here.
That's pretty sweet, man. I like that. I mean, Mr. Beast did it, so why not, right?
Yeah, why not? It's not impossible.
Isn't that crazy though that he's like in his hometown still?
Yeah, North Carolina somewhere.
Somewhere in North Carolina in this little town, and then this kid who makes YouTube videos in his bedroom.
Yeah.
And then now he's like probably one of the richest people in the state. Like
yeah, probably.
That's crazy, man.
It's wild. Things come full circle for people like that, you know? Like it's just about putting in the work, putting in the hours, you know?
Yeah. I was saying about what is your music making process? Like where do we go first, second, like you lyrics, you melody, or like getting it, like
yeah, so
take me through it, man.
Yeah, so if I were to write a song from start to finish, it's usually I usually like, at least for this project, I like finding just for this project, I like finding the title, you know, because then I'm able to kind of fit like a narrative around that title, you know? Like if I named it Table, like that doesn't really mean anything. But if I'm like talking like word of mouth, there's a lot more things that I can talk about that encapsulate that message and idea. There's been times where I've just came up with lyrics and then like maybe like a title came and I'm like, oh, that'd be, you know, it kind of fits maybe what I want for this song or that song. But that process for at least the moment has been find the title. So I have all the titles for this project and then basically finding like a message and a story. So a message for each song and then a message throughout the entire album. So, you know, whether that be segmented or whether that be like 1, 2, 3, and those are different 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, however you want to split that up. So that's usually what it'll look like. This one, at least for this project, it's like first phase, second phase, third phase, basically like an act structure because it's a story. I like telling stories through my recording process and my lyrics. So then from there, I usually find, like, if it's a sad song, I'm not going to find like an upbeat, you know, like hip hop song, like, you know, that's not where my mind's going. So like if I know it's going to be a little bit more of like a singy song, I'm looking for a singy song, you know, beat that is. And so I'll find a beat that I really like, that I like am able to identify myself with, because there's like some beats that I really don't like, old hip hop beats, like the boom bat like time beats, like really old, you know, like that isn't really my style, you know? So I'm not really looking for something like that. I'm looking for like a hip hop beat that's like a little bit more modernized, that has like maybe there's some that's trap, maybe there's some that's cinematic, maybe there's some that's like a storytelling, like a lot of piano, a lot of guitar, you know, whether the melody's really strong. That's usually kind of what I'll look for. And I'll be like, okay, I'm like listening to all these beats. This beat seems really good for this song. And I just kind of like just hum out like, and I'm just like kind of like find like my rhythm and my flow with it, because like you could take a song so many different ways depending on the flow. And so then by then I've found the beat, found the title, found the beat. I'll write out some lyrics. I usually have lyrics that are on my phone. This is a cool trick that I've done. I'll go on the Snapchat, record like a lyric that I think of in my mind that I will most likely forget in the long term. And I'll record a video of me saying that beat or like that line. And on the little, like when you type on text on Snapchat, I'll do rap hyphen the lyric or the title that this song might go under. And basically when I want to refer back to that lyric, I'll just type rap in my memories, and then I'll pull up all my rap lyrics. And then I just go through. I'm like, oh, okay, that's good. But I've just kind of became aware. That's for like if I forget to like write it down or anything. But most of the time I'll just go into like a rap pad, and I'll just type in like one of these songs that I'd normally use for a song. And I'll basically just I'll just name it unused lyrics or need to use lyrics. And I'll just type it in. And yeah, I mean, for the most part, I'm not a guy that like focuses on the chorus first. I'm a guy that focuses on the message and the entrance, you know, just like any video, that entrance is so important. Luckily with music, I do have a little bit more freedom to not start right on the, how would you say it? Like, hey, boom, 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 boom. Like, it doesn't need to start right as you turn on the song. Whereas, like, I'm able to send a message through it. And so like for this one song, like it's called A Leap of Faith. You know, it's about my personal journey and my personal story of leaving the sport of track and pursuing YouTube, you know, in some capacity. And so that message is like taking a leap of faith. Like you're basically betting on yourself and willing to put in the work, but I'm trying to symbolize this emphasis of time at the beginning. So like it has like a 23-second, like basically just a song. It's just like the beat. And it's just like me, like it's like a leap of faith. Like it's not an instant thing. Like you're just like all in it. You know, it's not like you just made this rash decision and hoping it pays off. Certainly it may be for some people, but for me, that was me being thoughtful of the time that I'm having and trying to symbolize that through like the first section of the song. And then it goes into like this, like kind of like ramping, like kind of like how would I say it? Like trying to convince myself that this is going to work. And so it's basically this like 7-bar line that I repeat twice. But the first time I say it with like no confidence, and, you know, the second time I say it, the first time I say it, it's kind of like, like I'm not really believing what I'm saying. And so I try it again, and it kind of, you know, maybe there's a spark that hits, you know, like we're going to do this. It's like, you know, basically if you're at the cliff, you know, like you're at the cliff, you know, about to go, you know, rock jump and jump in, you know, cliff jumping, right? It's that moment. It's right as you're there. You have to hype yourself up to actually go do it, right? And so that's the same message that I'm trying to convey within that first 45 seconds before I then go into the first verse. And then, I finished the whole first verse, and then I've gone into the chorus. So that song, that's like, I'm trying to symbolize something. I'm trying to make a callback. I'm trying to make something that is meaningful and is appreciative for my audience, and for like those moments in life where you might feel like you are taking that leap of faith and having to bet on yourself. And there's other songs that talk about maybe my relationships in life, whether that be, you know, with girls, my friends, my family. There might be songs that are completely more fictionalized, but to the point that they are fictionalized from the actual events that have occurred, you know? So that's kind of where that process, I know it's a long process, but I hope I kind of explained it a little bit more. And then I'm not the best at processing or producing music, but I've been learning. So we're going to try and give it a test run by the end of the month and see what it would be like to record a song again. And that's basically it. So for this project, I'm not going to say the track or how many tracks are on it, because that might give a little bit away to the meaning behind it. Regardless, that's definitely a project that I've been working on. I think I have 9 songs. I think I have 7 songs done, like not recorded, but done. And then I have 2 or 3 songs that are work in progress. So
how do you stay motivated through YouTube, even though you have relatively very little success?
Great question.
In the way, not to be insulting, because like neither do like 99% of people, right?
Yeah. I think it's a great question though.
How do you keep going when people are like, dude, what the fuck are you doing, man? And then you're like, no, just keep doing it, and then just like, how do you maintain?
Yeah, that's a great question. I don't know if there's like a process for me to like say like, hey, here's what I do to continue doing it. I don't know. I just know that there is unfound. It's like, think about it. It's like you're at a gold mine, you know, like you've gotten success, you've found a few gold, but you know, at the bottom of this, there's potentially 50x, you know, like it's not something you're thinking about all the time, but like that's an analogy to kind of put it. If you know that there's, you know, 1 million subscribers in this one room or this entire world, right? And you knew if you posted a video, that video might reach 5, you know, but that's all it's gonna do. So you need to continue to produce, and maybe the next one is 15, and the next one's 50, and you're like, well, if I continue to post, and this is, you know, in theory, you know, the more you post, the more you grow. And so in a way, like it's just I know that I could be at 3 million subscribers. I know I could be at 5 million subscribers, you know? And I'm not there yet, so why not try and go get it, you know? And especially it's 2022. I've been doing this for a very long time. You know, I've been doing it the wrong way for a very long time, just kind of like posting and, you know, the title's maybe not great, you know, and learning different things. That's what Creator Now is for. And the one thing that keeps me going is just knowing that I'm not done. Either A, I'm not done. 2, I know I could be a lot bigger than I am right now, and it's just waiting for the world to catch up. 3, that I want to prove to myself that I can do it. And 4, I don't give a fuck what other people think, and I'm going to do what makes me happy. And that's one of the reasons why I keep doing what I do, you know, is because I want to be happy at the end of the day, just like anybody else, you know, and to grind and to work for something, because like track and like sports have translated parallel within YouTube, you know. It's just a grind. You have to work. It's just like any sport that you got to do, anything that you want to be good at, whether that be the guitar, the piano, whether that be, you know, you want to be great at quilting, you know, it takes time and effort to actually be great at it. And I know, especially with sports, I found success. You know, I was a district champion my freshman year in the triple jump as a freshman, you know, seated 4th in that meet. And that was like my small success, you know. And for 2 years, I didn't hit my PR for like basically 2 years. It was up to my junior season before I hit my PR. And it's just like, damn, you know, like it doesn't matter because you're still competing, you're still doing the things that you want, and you're still grinding to get a new PR. And eventually you hit a new PR, you get cucked out of state that year, and so it just lights a fire right under you, you know? You then go into your senior year, it's like the redemption season. It's just like, you guys screwed me over, and I'm here like on a vengeance terror, you know? Like that's basically my senior season of track and field was just a vengeance terror. I didn't care who I was against. I didn't care how far they jumped. Any meet that I was going into, I was going in to win it or destroy everybody. And that was just the mentality that I had. Like it was purely just annihilation throughout my entire senior season. I don't know. I've never looked at it and been like, I know I won like 7 meets, you know, like I didn't really look at it that way. I just like knew if I won, it didn't matter how I won. As long as I won, you know, just like any basketball game or like a football game, you know, like it could be a 9-6 score, but as long as you win, you know. And that was just kind of my mentality going into my senior year. And eventually, you know, the district meet comes up, win that. The regional meet comes up, win that, go into state and win that as well. And it was just like, you know, I was not going to be stopped in my efforts to get what I want, because I knew that I'd not got what I wanted in years past. So it just, as kind-hearted as I think I am, I was like not kind-hearted when it came to track. Like I was ruthless. I was like if there was somebody slacking at practice, like, sorry, but chew on this bubble gum. I'm about to chew you out. Like that's fucking work, you know? And that was just like track me is over here and like YouTube Jared me is over here, and it like that's just what keeps me motivated, you know. It's just like I know that there's more to do, and I know I'm not done yet. So
yeah, I can tell you're pretty competitive. I can tell by the door dashing where you're like, if I don't get this $11, the next guy's getting the $11. Screw that, dude. Dude, that's what I've realized even the past couple days. Like, you know, I feel like I was kind of demotivated because I was I've put so much energy and time and money into so many different things, and then like maybe just right before there any bit of kind of success, I'm just like, dude, fuck this shit, man. Like this sucks, bro. Like I've put hours and hours, and you know, and then I like think back and I'm like, damn, when I was running, like I was very good at training for running. Like I was.
Yeah.
You get your sleep, you get your food, you do everything, you do research, you're doing everything you can possibly do. You're a leader on the team. Like it was everything. And I'm like, dude, this YouTube stuff or this social media or this screenwriting or this anything creative, like you haven't just made it everything. And that's the difference, man. I was like, if I was training like the way I'm training any of these creative tasks like I would be for running, I'd suck, dude. I'd be running. I'd be the kid who runs a 5-minute mile the first year and then just does the same thing every single other year. Like that would just what it'd be. Like the kids are good. It's just every day, little bit more.
Yeah.
And that's what you learn. I was like, damn, I gotta start waking up earlier. Like that's that for me, like the difference between like sleeping in versus waking up, the biggest difference in the world, man. Like I get up at 7 in the morning, I'm like, let's go. Like I get up at noon, I'm like, what? Let's eat food.
Like half your day's gone, it feels like.
Yeah, and I just like I could just eat food and have lunch. Like, and I wake up in the morning, I'm like, let's go run, let's go work out, let's go.
Yeah, like you have the whole day ahead of you. Like
let's go, man.
Yeah, it's a great feeling.
I guess one last thing, I really like the gold mine analogy, because like starting the YouTube channel is finding the gold mine, and then the real shit happens, man. Yeah. You just gotta start digging at some rock. Yeah. For hours and hours and hours.
It's like fucking Minecraft out here, you know? You're trying to find diamonds.
And then you find the vein, dude, and you're like,
yeah.
And you just take like 20, and you're like, bro, I'm set.
It takes time. It takes time and practice and putting a good process together. And I think most importantly, especially with like kind of relating this maybe back to music, you know, like more in that audio art, the auditorial art, like YouTube is a visual art for me. It's a way that I can express like an edit, you know, like when you finish that product, this is how Jared Hathaway edited it, you know, like that's how you do it, you know? And I mean, obviously they're not thinking of that, but if they know that you're editing, maybe subconsciously they think about it one day and like, oh, like he's like, that's the way he conveyed this story to me. And that's just like the biggest thing. Like I like the art form. I like being able to express these different ideas and different things that are in these videos and how to go about that and how you're showcasing that. And just something that I've really, really enjoyed over the past, 6 months a lot more. And I started vlogging because I just wanted, it was like one of those things, like when your parents, not people, but like your parents have like those tape recorders and they have like footage from you back in 03 and 04 before like mobile devices were a thing. That's basically like why I started vlogging, was because it was a way for me in 20 years, as long as YouTube's still here, in 20 years to, show my kids, this is my life. This is what I did. And it's crazy to think about because, you don't think about it in the moment, but it was a way for me to document my life in one way or another.
Yeah, and those videos are always the cutest ones, man.
Yeah.
They're like just so raw and they're just capturing the moment. And I think that's been my goals. Like, how can you go from like making a YouTube video to just like capturing the moment?
Yeah.
And that changed everything. Then it becomes an actual story.
Yeah. And then there's like
more of an art.
Yeah, it feels like there's more purpose behind it, And that's the biggest thing, is purpose. And I just found over the, like everyone's like, what's your life meaning? Like, what's your life goal? It's purpose. It's, like, it doesn't matter if you believe in this or believe in that. It's like, what is your purpose and how are you utilizing that to get what you want to do in life and what makes you happy at the end of the day, And it's just that purpose of visual art, I could be quilting right now, I could be quilting, like that's my calling.
Yeah, dude, man, growing up, I was always a math kid. Like I was very good at math. So I would just be put in the math kids. Going to different classes to do math. And so like, I never thought I had to be creative or anything. So I remember like, I'd go to writing, I'd be in like writing class or whatnot. And I dread it, man. I'd hate it. I'd sit there and I'd just write nothing. Even though there's thoughts. I'm like, and then be like, oh, you got writer's block again. And I'm like, yep. And then I remember one day we had an activity. This is first grade. And we had to put like different animals together. So like you take an elephant and then you would take like a lion. You make like an elephant or something like that.
Yeah.
And then I was supposed to do that, and then we're meeting in small groups with the teacher after we finished our project. And I was just like, oh, I'll just write nothing. And then I got to the group, and I was like, oh, I couldn't think of anything. And then my teacher just laid into me. He's like, go back, finish it, man. And I was like, oh, I have to do it.
Yeah.
And it just like, it like opened my mind. I was like, huh, okay. And then like after more and more years, I just started to appreciate art more and more and more and more and more, and creativity, because like everything else can be replicated by a robot, dude, except for the art. And that's what makes it so special. And that's what makes Jared so special, man. Thanks for coming on, man. I have a lot of respect for you.
I appreciate it. Likewise.
By.
I'm glad that you invited me.
Yeah, man. You guys want to follow him? It's TheRealJared on every platform, right?
Yeah, pretty much. So TheRealJared on YouTube. Also have a podcast called The Realist Podcast if you guys want to listen to that. I'm sure we'll have Mr. Yeager on at some point. Sweet. If you're passing through. But regardless, you can find me on social media, Instagram, Twitter, at I'm TheRealJared. So it's basically TheRealJared with I'm in the front, Jared. You could also look up Jared Hathaway. I'm pretty much the only Jared Hathaway that's not in prison, so you could most likely find me. So
unless you go to prison like the rest of them.
Let's hope not. You know, I don't want to keep the tradition alive, much as I'm all about tradition.
Sweet, man.
Regardless,
well,
thank you so much for having me. Thank you.